Welcome everyone to another episode of the Campus Waterfowl Podcast. I'm your host, Derek Christians. And just as a reminder, if you guys are listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anything like that, feel free to tune into our YouTube channel. We actually are recording this podcast. And then if you're watching on YouTube, and if you can't finish this episode, take it on the road with you and listen to it on your way out to the duck blind on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. So quick reminder there. But this weekend for the Collegiate Waterfowl Tour, I'm sitting here with students from the University of Wisconsin-Platteville. I'm not sure if you guys have been following the tour, but this was kind of like a last-minute hunt. Originally, I was going to go down to Texas, but then had to make a plan to come back north to see family. And so on the way through, I figured come on by and see these guys that I've been talking to now. I think how long have we had all conversations?
A few months.
I was going to say, you first messaged us in snow goose season.
Yeah.
Which was, March, I think.
So March, we've kind of been chit-chatting back and forth. And then Hunter, you've been engaged with the page for quite some time now.
A couple of years probably.
Yeah. So I've been able to have conversations with these guys throughout through the years of running Campus Waterfowl in the DMs, and so built a relationship with them. And these guys they put Platteville on the map for me. They we're sending in pictures a lot of times, and so being able to hunt here over the weekend and see where all these pictures were getting sent in from is really cool, and being able to witness that. But make sure, if you guys haven't already, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Greatly appreciate that. Like I mentioned before, we're traveling across the country this year, hunting with students. This last week we were in Colorado, and then we rescheduled the Texas trip, so we'll be going down to Texas A&M this next week. So the next group of videos that we'll be posting on YouTube will be from Texas A&M after the UW Platteville videos. So, but let's get into the podcast. All this wouldn't be possible for our great partners this hunting season. Kent Cartridge for supplying the shotgun shells throughout the year for the students to shoot on the tour. Tetra Hearing, Onyx, and then also the support of Ducks Unlimited for us being able to go out and hunt with students across the country. So thank you to those companies for making all this possible. But, all right, let's go around. I know you guys all got to give your freshman elevator pitch, so let's, what do you got?
You want me to start?
Sure, go for it.
My name is DJ Dean. I'm originally from Heartland, Wisconsin, which is just about 30 minutes outside of Milwaukee. I'm a senior here at UW-Platteville, and I'm 22 years old.
I'm Hunter Grams, originally from Lodi, Wisconsin. I'm a senior here at Platteville, majoring in animal science, minoring in biology, and I look to be going to vet school here in the near future.
Nice.
Yeager, also from Hartland, Wisconsin, went to high school with DJ, known him for quite some time. Senior at UW-Platteville, construction management major.
Ryan Harty from Plainfield, Illinois. Construction management major. I'm a senior here, and I also have a minor in business.
Carney, I'm from New Glarus, Wisconsin, 21 years old. I'm a senior at Platteville, and I'm also a construction management with a business administration minor.
All right. Now you got a sense of who I'm sitting down here with. But one thing that you guys as listeners need to know is, so we are recording this the evening of the last evening I'm actually here hunting with these students. So we've had 2 days of hunting. Saturday we were out hunting ducks. The evening we were out in a tree stand, and then this morning and this evening we're goose hunting in a field. So I think we gotta start with a recap of what can the listeners expect for these YouTube videos coming up on the channel.
To be interesting.
The struggle bus, as we call it.
And boy, did we drive that thing.
Yep.
Let's start out with scouting. What was scouting like? And I feel like I've heard this a lot over the weekend. Is this is a good representation of just how hunting along the Mississippi is. And so explain to everyone kind of what you guys were seeing before I even got here.
So it was Thursday. You got the message from us.
Yeah.
We got the message from you. So I went out Friday morning, ended up driving, I think the truck said like 153 miles. I saw maybe 200 ducks from the Illinois border all the way halfway up the state. There were just no ducks. And Yeager and I went out in the boat that evening, and there were a couple hundred ducks here, a couple hundred ducks there, probably just over 1,000 ducks on the river. And they just come and go. You get a wind, 18 mile an hour south wind, and we have migrators. Just doesn't make sense, and it's exactly how the morning ended up going.
And then for scouting on Saturday night, while Jared and I were scouting for a field for these hunts today, while the other guys were in the tree stand, it's kind of the same deal, hunting these birds that were on this roost. We've had a history with them pulling the same kind of stuff on us. Plenty of birds, over 2,000 roosting on there and going out to feed. There's most birds we've seen on it all year. But then today it's just they didn't read the script. This morning, I think if we had some adjustments to our spread and different little wind direction, probably could have done a little bit better. But just tonight, how slow it was and how those birds didn't get off the feed. It's something we've experienced a lot of times, and we were hoping it wasn't going to happen. But you see a feed and you see birds flying, you got to put yourself where you think they're going to be, and they're obviously not going to do that all the time.
There's not too much body of water around here, so anybody that hunts in this part of the state, they're either following these birds on this lake or they're following the birds on the river. And the river geese, they all usually feed in Iowa, so you can't really follow them to Wisconsin side too easily. So I mean, that leaves you with this lake that there's 5 or 6 groups of people just trying to hunt, and these birds get educated pretty quick, so that plays a factor as well.
And even the terrain, when you're scouting by the Mississippi, if you're going to try and find a place where these birds are feeding, or if you're going just north of where we were, it's very just like rolling hills, plateaus. So if you go down in the bottom, you lose these birds real quick. And then you see, everybody knows how fast these birds can fly and how far they can cover ground. So it's just really hard scouting and finding a feed anywhere but this area. So, and that kind of also leads to a lot of pressure from other waterfowlers too.
Are there a lot of hunters around, waterfowl hunters around here, and even more specific, like at the University of Wisconsin-Platteville?
So, I'll go ahead.
Since COVID hit, there's been a lot of people that's getting into it. Like
Really?
for myself, my roommates, there's like 2 or 3 of them that never hunted before until college, and COVID came around and they just got bored, so they wanted to see what hunting was all about because all their roommates hunted. So we took them out a couple times and they got into it, and now like they're hunting, starting to hunt on their own and stuff. So I mean, it's great having more people in the sport, but it also puts more pressure on birds too.
Yeah, especially by the sounds of it. Yeah, only 2 bodies of water here where birds can.
2 big bodies of water.
Yeah.
And in my perspective, I started seriously waterfowl hunting my freshman year. Somebody that I was close with took me out and they had all the decoys, calls. They showed me kind of the ropes of hunting the Mississippi, and there was not nearly a third of the hunters that are out there today. So throughout these 4 years, I've seen so much change as far as how to hunt the river, and then versus how many people are also hunting the river now. And then also just around these fields too, which is, like we said, it's good for the sport, and we love seeing people getting involved. And, you know, we're all after the same pursuit of harvesting animals and providing for ourselves and families and friends, but it just makes it a whole nother challenge that you have to overcome, and you just got to be a smarter hunter.
When it comes to getting permission, is that you guys are able to get permission in this area of Wisconsin where leasing's not a whole problem, not a problem really, where you guys can still go up to the farmer's door and get permission?
Mostly for deer and turkeys where you run like the leasing issues,
Okay.
but for geese and waterfowl, most farmers really just want them off their land, it seems like. So
And most of the time, are you guys hunting like this weekend we were hunting a bean field? Are you guys hunting beans, corn, wheat, that type of fields, or what kind of?
Depends on where the birds are, especially with these birds that we were hunting. They change their feed every day.
Yeah.
And there's so many birds that are coming from different directions that you don't know where these birds are going to pull this whole flock, so it's just like a toss up. You're really just playing a betting game, really.
So
like,
it's whatever you can get to.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah, it's like one day you'll scout the X, you get permission on it, and you'll hunt that the next morning, and these birds will go to a completely different spot from the lake. But sometimes if you see these birds in the X and you can't get permission, then you'll just try to get a field in between their roost and the X just to traffic them.
It's kind of
Which we've done well on a couple hunts that we've hunted together. So
It was kind of partially the plan today too.
Yeah.
Was for we couldn't get on the X, but
Yeah.
you know, we kind of got in there flow over to it. So
Yeah.
I tried to.
We talk about pressure from other hunters. This is how we.
Yeah,
that's-
I was just gonna bring
That's
that
how
up.
we
Yeah. So we both got permission on the same. Ryan and I were driving around the roost, and then we saw this feed, and we're like, okay, we got to hunt this tomorrow. And this was really our first kind of step into getting more permission to hunt around here. So we go up to the landowner. He talks, yeah, go out there, da 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 da. Give him our contact and everything. And then I don't think we were more than 15 minutes behind you guys.
We saw the
So-
trucks in the fields.
Yeah, yep. So we were just like minutes away from getting there first, but we met up. We said, "Hey, do you want to run?" I think we would have had 8 guys.
Yeah.
But we had an A-frame. They had layout, so we didn't know how it was going to really work out with just our hide. So they directed us to the other another field that they were flying on the same landowner's property. So then they're like, "Hey, let's get contact information. Let's slay them out here." And that's what we've been doing. Well, we've been trying to do. We've had a lot of good hunts and a lot of good learning lessons, but yeah, it's been a cool story so far.
It's also just fun getting out there and chatting around and
Yeah.
getting to know each other too. So.
Yeah. For the viewer's sake, what they're referring to is a lot of times students in college will have a group of friends and they'll start Instagram pages or social media pages to share their hunts with their friends, family, and things like that. And I'm sitting with, is it 4? Are you guys all? You 4?
Yeah,
dorm
yes.
room?
Yeah.
Dorm room. So we got 4 members of Dorm Room Outdoors. And I'll have you guys talk about a little bit of how you guys started that. But then also we got Hunter here. He's with God's Country.
God's Country
Outdoors.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And both pages have social media channels or YouTube channels and Instagram pages. So if you guys are listening and we're watching this video, make sure you guys check out their hunts and their channels on social media because they do some serious hunting in this area. And you got all over, really. Like, are you kind of wherever you guys go hunting, you're filming your hunts.
Yep.
So it's been a lot of fun watching those and now even being a part of one from this weekend. So we'll touch on that a little bit later. But I want to let's have Dorm Room Outdoors first. What made you guys start the page at the basis of it?
I started filming my hunts when I was like 12
Okay.
and just always did it on a little GoPro. Then Jared and I were on the baseball team and we just got to talking about hunting and then we just kind of took off from there. We went with Sam, who's another member. He lives and hunts in Minnesota. We went out filming and then Jared and I were like, we're closer, we're going to hunt together more. So we both split a camera. Got the mic, got all the GoPros, everything you need, just started filming from there, and realized this is pretty fun. And then tried hunting without a camera, and it's like, this is not nearly as fun. So I just started going from there, more and more, just hunting together, and then started growing with Sam. Then we wanted to add waterfowl. Yeager was on our floor. Jared moved in with me into the dorm room for sophomore year. Then we got talking with Yeager more, then Yeager joined dorm room, and then I believe you joined next, correct?
Yeah, because I transferred here last year, so we're coming up on just about a year that I've been in it.
So then, where did the name come from?
Just randomly thought of it, really.
Really?
I was just driving down the road and I'm like, dorm. I'm thinking of something that related with college. And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, dorm
Was it-
room.
Was
dorm
it
room
more so
outdoors.
to relate to the fact that you guys were in college and wanted to share your hunts and show that students or people that you were in college, or was it you were trying to attract other college students?
I think it was more like, I feel like the college hunter is kind of underrepresented. So I think that was kind of our niche, so to speak. It's kind of what I based it off of, I guess.
When you go through the lens of a college student, you could have a lot of people that relate. A lot of us don't have a lot of money. We're working on a budget. We're also away from home, or some of us are close to home, but you don't have access to property, so you got to find a place to hunt, either that's public or asking permission like we do. So I think that's something that also makes us attractive to our peers in the industry, I guess. Community,
Yeah.
good call. Just that we all kind of share that common theme of we're all working our butts off here, and we might not have a lot of money. We spend a lot of our money on our hunt stuff, and we might not spend as much time in the classroom as we do in the field or in the stand. But I think it's just like a uniting thing between all of us, and that's something that we can sell ourselves on.
Yeah, and something that was really important to me was, like, I feel like when a lot of people come to college, they get a little overwhelmed with the whole not having anywhere to hunt thing. So, kind of wanted to show that it can be done, and like for deer hunting, like you can still kill big bucks, whether that's on public or private permission. It takes a lot more work, but it can definitely be done, and you don't have to give up what you love just because you're at college.
For sure.
Yeah, like Jared, between us 3 waterfowl deer and just those 2, we probably have over 20,000 acres just in this area for permission.
Yeah.
We added up, and just for deer, last year we were over 4,000 acres. And like, you put out the work, you do the time, you help the landowners, they will help you and allow you to hunt. Most of our farms, we can't even hunt past November 15th. But those farms provide the biggest bucks because they only get gun hunted, and you work with the landowners and the neighbors, you can just manage the land, and just shows other students that you can do this too. Like, it doesn't require money, it just requires your time and hard work. So really all it is.
What was that first step of getting getting your foot in the door, I guess? Like, how did...
So, I
What
shot
did
a
you-
buck, public land, with the rifle, first time ever rifle hunting. And someone else shot it and claimed it while I was running, maybe 30 yards from me. Shot it again, rolled it. Claimed it, that ticked me off. So I went and got private. Then I got more private, and then realized these bucks are a lot bigger and I can do a lot more than he has family in the general area. And so we started looking at that private, and then we were like, no, we need to keep expanding. And that's just kind of how it all started. I was tired of public land.
But it was
other
it
hunters.
when you went to that landowner's house to ask for permission, like, what was that conversation like? Was it just your general kind of go up to the door and ask them for permission, or did you, like, how did you kind of sell yourself to get access?
It's actually the first farm I got was the one we just killed on.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did, I knocked on the door. No one was home. I was walking back to my truck, and his dad rode up on the ATV. He was like, actually, my son owns the property. Took me on the ATV to the back, to the campground, and I just walked up and I was like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm looking to do. Can I work for you in any way? Cut ATV trails, do any kind of work just to get permission. And he was like, well, let me talk to the guys who lease the property. I was like, even just doe hunting. I just would like a place close to campus. And he was like, if you're willing to work, they're willing to let you doe hunt. And that's where it all started. So I just worked for him for 2-3 years hard, and great guy, and we hang out, go duck hunting, and he doesn't like deer hunting, but trying to get him into it.
Even with that, like, you guys have helped me and then also Dean get on property. I got on a place that Jared used to hunt. He kind of introduced me to landowners, said, hey, this guy's looking for a place to go, a piece of private. It's got really good bucks on it. The only kind of gripe I have about it is I got to battle with cattle all the time. And I got some stories about that, but that could be for another time. But, I did work for him. I helped him bale hay, and, that was for a solid day's work. And he's like, oh, you've done enough. You can just go back there and hunt. And I still maintain that relationship and ask, hey, is there anything I can do for you? Or do you want me to help you out? If I can, obviously with my schedule and school and work and everything like that. But, these guys are kind of what got our foots in the door at deer hunting, because I was like, when I first thought about getting and seeing how much they have, I was like, there's no way I can get private property with, and especially how coveted it is in Wisconsin. It's a very rich, deep community as far as hunting goes, and during rifle season, you see everybody even though they don't hunt hard or religiously like some of us do. They're out there sitting in their property or somebody they know. So it's like, it's really touch and go when it comes to, you gotta be careful when you're asking. You don't want to seem like you're really pushing on it, but if you're just open to, just be a good person, open to work, open to communicate. A landowner doesn't want a big buck shot on. Obviously, work with them, be careful. But yeah, it's just, it doesn't have to be an exact science. You just have to be a good person and just use your core values as an outdoorsman, use the ethics that you've learned being in the outdoors to help you get that permission and hunt those bucks.
Yeah, I think the relationships that you form in it are just great. I mean, Ryan just put me on a new piece of private property. I've never had any permission before. I just kind of got reintegrated into the hunting community last year and I guess 2 years ago. But yeah, you form a great relationship with them. And this guy that I got the permission on, so far we're off to a good start, and he's a very nice guy. And yeah, it's just great. And it's definitely better than public, I'll tell you that, because you know, the public around here is kind of spread out, so I've been driving 45 minutes there, and now my car ride's only 10 minutes, so that alone is pretty cool, so.
Yeah.
And you just got to respect their land, too, you know, as long as you are, like Yeager said, are a good person and respect their land, and, you know, if they don't want you to drive out or whatever, and just respect their land, because they're giving you a favor.
Leave it cleaner than how you found it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes a long way.
Yep.
Yeah, they love that.
Asking again, and then also other hunters to get access later on. So it only takes one to screw it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had examples of that already.
Yeah.
On fields that, one of the fields we've gotten, the guy was just hesitant even because some college kids drove through the field and rutted it all up. But he's gracious enough to let us hunt on it, and hopefully we can kind of restore his faith in college kids, and they could still preserve these guys getting good hunts in.
Yeah. Let's talk about God's country. You're kind of behind enemy lines in a way. You're Lone Ranger here.
So
for God's country.
So freshman year here in it was 2018, spring of 2018. We went out one night behind the dorms in the lawn of campus, and it was me, Lucas Kaland, JP Suckamel, Jake Kubisky, and some other people just randomly.
But friends.
Yeah,
that you
friends.
know.
Yeah,
Okay.
friends. But yeah, we caught a bunch of night crawlers because I think it was a Thursday night, and we were leaving Friday for opening trout season or whatever. So it was like the first weekend in May, and so it was Thursday night. We went out there at like 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and with our headlamps and everything, we just caught like enough night crawlers that fill up one of those picnic benches on campus, the top of it. We put them all. We actually went across the street to, we call it Guam. It's like a little food eating place here. We went in the dumpster there and got like these big mayonnaise containers that they use. We cleaned them out, poked holes in the tops of them, put dirt in them, threw the crawlers in there, and we took that up to trout camp. And trout camp every year, there's like maybe 20 guys or so that we go up to Ferryville and stay at my dad's buddy's cabin. So, we went up there. There was 3 of us, I think, from God's country went up there and caught some trout, and we're just like, well, heck, we should start blogging this. So we brought our GoPros up there and started filming our like trout fishing and stuff. And we started the page off by just like introducing who's all in it, some pictures of previous hunts. And just from there, we just been blogging a lot of our pictures and hunts, and we started some YouTube videos. Haven't done really too much on YouTube, but we've done a little bit with the GoPros and what we can.
Yeah.
And then we've done some recapping, just a bunch of pictures thrown into like a collab in the video.
Okay.
And then Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, I guess. We just kind of been working on that, I guess, and just posting our favorite hunts.
And what was, you said the reason for it was kind of just blog your own hunts.
Yeah.
And so then where did the name come from for God's country?
So, we've always been seeing like stuff about how the southwest part of Wisconsin is always like known as God's country, just because it's so beautiful with the rolling hills and the sunsets and everything. And I was like, I kind of wanted to put some biblical aspect into the name too, so I wanted to keep God in it. That'd be kind of cool. So then I was like, well, that'd be kind of sweet to have the name God's Country, and we just kind of figured God's Country Outdoors kind of fit well with it, and that's how it came about.
It stuck.
Yeah.
I kind of thought you got it from Blake Shelton.
I did too.
we were before that song came out.
He got it from these guys.
Yeah, right. And when his song came out, we all went like crazy in God's Country. Like, oh my God, we're famous.
Are you getting royalties for that?
Yeah.
You better write him a letter.
Should have trademarked that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second you thought of it.
Yeah.
So what kind of advice? So we talked about kind of you guys starting your pages. What advice would you give to people maybe thinking about getting some friends together and starting pages?
I think you gotta find kind of your niche and what you're gonna be about and what you're gonna stand for and kind of what you're gonna do different. You definitely gotta be willing to work hard for very little payoff, like material wise. It's just you gotta be crazy about it, and it's gotta be something you obviously love. Like hunting would be way less fun if we didn't film it, in my opinion. So it's all something we really love to do.
I mean, it doesn't have to. The outdoors page doesn't really have to technically be just like a bunch of animals that you've harvested or like piles of birds or something. It can be just pictures of like restoring land or just being outside in the environment and maybe taking pictures of wildlife even.
So starting a page, I would definitely say don't worry about it, just have fun. And it seems the more fun you have, the more people actually enjoy it and they'll pay attention to it. And the more you stress about it and try and be perfect, it just, one, isn't worth your time, and two, people either really like it or they won't care at all. So it's better to just have fun with it, enjoy it, and see where it goes. That's how we got here.
Right. I think just getting out there. You don't have to produce quality content, but whatever you enjoy, and you can develop your own style. You can watch some of your other creators that you like to, and then you can kind of mix and blend styles. Is something that I do, at least from a waterfowl perspective. When I'm editing a video, I look at different channels that I like, how they edit their footage and their B-roll, and how you can incorporate telling a story while not dragging it out too long. But just getting out there and doing what you enjoy does not even worry about the equipment. As long as you're doing something that you love, you have a passion for it, the gear will follow. Because if it's something enough that you have a drive to do, it will come eventually. As far as the gear, maybe talk to Ryan to get you a cheap camera on eBay. That's how I got all of our camera equipment. Yep. But in all seriousness, Facebook Marketplace is a real treasure trove. eBay, you could find a nice 1080. It doesn't even have to be 4K like everything you see that's going viral. You can even do it off your phone. A lot of these cameras nowadays are just as good as something you could buy in the store.
Yeah.
So,
the last video I actually posted was it the last video? Or one of the videos from Colorado. You can see so DUTV was with us on that hunt, and you'll watch Guy with his camera filming us in the video, and then I kind of pick up my phone, and in my edit in the video I made, it's me, and then it goes to my camera on my phone, and you can't even tell the difference between the two.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we're just sitting in the blind, and I pick up my phone, and then I'm looking at Guy, and yeah, colors, like it's you wouldn't know if you were watching it. So well, you do know because I do pull up my phone, and you see me put it up because I wanted people to know like this is the quality of my phone versus what just got shot. So, but yeah, it's crazy that the amount of tech and I know guys from NDSU, they use their cell phones. Like they got GoPros and they use their cell phones in the blind because it's so easy just to pick up your phone. And I still use my phone to get footage.
Right.
So
you always have it on you too.
Yeah.
It's not something you have to like. Oh, I gotta remember to bring batteries, SD. You know, did I format it? Did I clear it? So it's just like a point and shoot, really. But I mean, obviously, you're lacking a lot of capabilities of a bigger camera. But for just starting out and doing interviews, that's easy option right there. Everybody's got a phone.
Yeah, I would say back to the advice kind of topic, but mine kind of ties in. Everyone, of course, I went last, so everyone kind of said some stuff that I was thinking. But yeah, just doing what you love and. No, I wasn't directly involved with the founding of it, but I joined later, and I'd say definitely finding someone that you can look up to that has kind of started it. Like these two have taught me everything. Ryan got me camera, got all the gear. Jared shows me how to edit videos and made tutorials for us. Like just having that mentorship in there that really helps. So I'd say that's my biggest advice. If you can find a mentor, go that route.
I think that was a nice transition to talk about kind of finding cheap gear. We need some tips and things like that. Where would you recommend for some students to go out and find some quality gear for a cheap price, or DIYs?
You start.
I've got a lot of those.
Yeah.
Sadly, my favorite app, they got rid of. It was Let Go. I bought 5 of our 6 cameras from Let Go. They're Sony 4K AX53s, which are $2,200 brand new. I bought 4 of them for around $300.
Each?
Got got his for like $450, and got his for like $500, and that was in COVID.
Yeah.
And they were going for well over $1,000.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I have a way with words with people on the internet, and I can talk them down. I don't really know how to explain it. Dean couldn't get them below like 800, and I just yep, here we go. All right, 550. Dean, I just bought it.
If I'm thinking of something like we were looking for layout blinds, and I'm like, yeah, Ryan, I'm kind of thinking about getting a layout blind. 5 minutes later, I'll have about a whole list of 10 layout blinds. He's like, yep, this is worth $200. It's $75. I got them down to $50. Let's go right now. I was like, okay. Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. I like Facebook Marketplace. I find some stuff on there. It's great.
That eBay OfferUp. Just stuff
Craigslist,
like that.
you guys go on Craigslist at all?
Nope.
Not
Nope.
anymore.
It's kind of died off quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think Facebook's been more the prominent because a lot of people have Facebook.
Yeah, people. It's been
The
so
thing
easy.
that I like about Facebook is you kind of see the person that you're buying the stuff from.
Yeah.
That's
See what they look like. I mean, and then you can also go to the location. You can see the gear and stuff like that before you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that it's like what you want.
Yeah, and if you did go the eBay or OfferUp route, like they still have, I guess, a protection on that.
Yeah.
So if they do send you, like Ryan bought a camera a couple of years ago now that came and it was totally broken, and he was able to return it and get his money back. So
Yep. I prefer eBay over OfferUp just for that. eBay is 30-day money back guaranteed. If it's not exactly how you want it, you can return it and get your money back. OfferUp kind of got screwed over a couple times because I've been out of state on trips doing something for work, and you have 24 hours to get your money back. And it's like, I'm not coming back for a week. So OfferUp, you definitely need to watch out. There's a lot of scammers. You just need to look at the profile. You got to look at 5-star reviews. Got to look at how many things they've sold, how many things they've bought, and just go through what they're selling. If it's like $100 camera, selling it for $100 and it's $2,000, and then they've got like a truck for $1, it's obviously a scam. And then also you'll see the same post on different websites and Facebook Marketplace, same thing, like cargo trailers. I'm looking for a trailer right now for my decoys, and it'll be like $800, which is a great price, but then you look in it and it'll have like 9 different states that it's posted in. So you know right away that's a scam. So just kind of watch out for the scams and just filter through the cheapest and hit it right away.
You had mentioned you used Amazon too throughout the weekend. So there's the option on the right-hand side of the webpage, right?
Yeah, it's considered used material, and that was one of my winter jobs at Amazon, and I had to repackage used material, which it could just have the slightest scratch. I've got $300-400 Vortex binos for $100. Got calls for $70 off. You can get stupid things for super cheap by getting used
Your
damaged
knee
packaging.
boots. What was that? Like those super. Like,
Oh yeah, this.
I've never even heard of knee boots this thick, like great.
Yeah,
grain
2,400 gram rubber boots. They're normally like $190, and they were on sale for $40 used. Damaged
Did you
packaging.
buy like 3 pairs?
Yeah,
or
I bought
something?
4 pairs because $800 worth of boots, and I got it for like $140 after tax. It's like, might as well just do it.
College students balling on a budget.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You sell one of them, you make your money back, and then you
Yeah.
go out. Same thing with trail cameras. I buy them used on there, and then I just sell them to buy my Brownings because they're higher quality.
So there's opportunity out there for students to find cheap gear and then potentially even make some money.
Yep.
Resell.
Just like my mud motor.
Yeah, resell some of it.
That's how I got my drone too. That we added to the fleet, and then Dean also got his drone from his work. But
Yeah.
it was damaged packaging. I got almost $150 off of it. This is the DJI Mavic Mini.
There we go. And then also there's other options, DIYs. What are some of your finer DIYs?
Ryan can start. He's got it.
Ryan, I've come to learn. They've told me some stories of How some ways that he's been able to save some money over the years.
Well, I'm cheap. Let's start off with that. So my goose call you guys already saw. If not, go watch Campus Waterfowl's goose video.
We're gonna be making a specific video about your goose call, about you disassembling it and then putting it back together. And
All right, we can do that.
So be on the lookout for that.
It is just 4-piece PVC, $5 ink reed, 37 cents PVC, and screw it together, tune it. That's one of them. Too cheap to buy a grunt call, so I just inhale air compressed in my stomach like a goose call and burp. Works great, kills a lot of bucks doing that. Another DIY turkey call. Don't want to buy turkey calls, so you learn how to call like a turkey with your mouth.
Let's hear it.
I think
See?
There we go.
Right there.
you don't need to buy one.
There's a lot of DIYs. You just gotta learn how cheap you are and what's worth the money. Jared likes to spend money, I do not. And when I do spend something, it's definitely worth it.
Learn how to owl hoot like our buddy Travis.
Yeah, Travis.
He's really good at
Really?
yeah. On our when we went public land hunting up north in Adams County last year, it was one of Jared's friends actually that we stayed up at his place. Instead of getting an owl hoot that you can or a shot call you can buy obviously for cheap, but just all he says like, yeah, I practice in the shower all the time. His brother's like, you have no idea the misery I went through just listening to him do that for a solid. I don't know. He did that for a while before he perfected it. But because I don't even know if I have any DIY. It's more of just Ryan steals the show here.
Yeah.
Did you guys make your own A-frame?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hunter mentioned when you guys first met all that you guys had.
So those two didn't want to buy layouts.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, he loves coyote hunting. I said, duck and goose hunting is a souped up coyote hunting. You get to call them in, you get to work with them, and then kill them and harvest. So it's like, well, we need an A-frame. I was like, well, here's the numbers. This is how much it's going to cost. Just built an A-frame on paper, then we talked about it, built it. It's part of our goose video, I believe. And
we kind of show a brief overview of it. And PVC chicken wire and
zip ties.
zip ties and marsh
ties.
grass that we had left over from Dean's boat blind.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of brush in per location. So it's not fancy. It's not like an avian by any means, and it's got its perks. Not so great perks, but it works. We don't need to spend $400 or $500 on an A-frame. When we split it between actually all of us.
Yeah.
All 5 of us that were going to be hunting out of it. So we ended up being what 20 something.
It was $132
Yeah, so 20
for a
something.
15-foot blind.
Okay.
So we made it 8 foot wide at the base, and it's 3.5 up top. So plenty of room, and for a 15-foot blind, it's plenty for $130.
Right.
That's a good option. All right, everybody. There you go. And if you ever if you have questions about finding stuff, make sure you guys reach out to these Dorm Room Outdoors in God's Country because they know how to find the deals. So, like I said earlier in the podcast, I've had conversations with some of these guys through a year or two now, and so Hunter actually sent in. Was this one of your first photos you sent in to Campus Waterfowl?
No, I had something that you put on there like
Okay.
2 years ago too.
Okay, but he sent in a picture one day, and it was a Tim Grounds band, and there's a story behind it, and I had to ask him because I needed to know.
Yeah, so I've been hunting since I was 10 years old, like waterfowl, deer, everything, the whole 5 yards. But I've never shot a band before. My roommates were all shooting bands, and I was like, am I just that unlucky? I've been hunting for 11 years now, and never got lucky enough for a band. We went out goose hunting last year on actually the field that we met each other on. It was me, one of my buddies, and then both of our girlfriends. We took them out hunting. So it was 4 of us. And the night prior, we were scouting this field. There was it was like towards the end of the season. I think it was the first weekend in December or something like that. And there was probably 5,000 geese in the lake and maybe 1,000 ducks, mallards. So we were watching all these birds pour into this field the night before. All these mallards were tornadoing into it as well. And we got together that night and we were like, well, we tried to figure out how many decoys we could throw together. So we threw all of our full bodies, all of our silhouettes, all of our shells. We even threw all of our floaters out there just for fillers. Threw all of our duck floaters out there, duck full bodies, duck silhouettes. And we're just making this biggest spread that we could. So we got out there, did that, got out there like probably 2 hours before shooting light, 3 hours maybe, and got it all set up. So we got out there in the morning, it was getting to shooting light, and these birds haven't flown for, it was like 10 o'clock, these birds haven't flown yet. So we're like, well, we know they're going to fly at some point today. Do we want to sit all day, or what do we want to do? So, funny story, we actually ordered Domino's out to the field. We put a pin on the map, and pull up a point, and we called Domino's, and we ate Domino's for lunch, and then we had these big Magnum shells, like 4 foot, so we threw the pizza boxes under the shells, and kind of hit them that way. And then around 4 o'clock, these birds started getting up. We shot one flock, the first flock that came in, I think we shot like 2 out of or something. Second flock came in, there was 8 of them. We shot, there's one on the ground that was on my side, so I shot it on the ground, and then 2 on the other side that were flying that they shot. So I went up to get mine, and there was just a federal band. I was like, holy cow, this is awesome. It was my first band ever. Bring it back, and didn't think up much of it at the time because there was so many birds flying in the air at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So bring it back, throw it down, and then the next flock comes in. There's like 10 of them. I pick out one on this side, and we all just pick out a bird. We drop like 4 or 5, I think. And then I went to get the bird that I thought I killed. I pull up, and I was like, holy cow, another band. So I get back there, and my buddy was like, dude, that thing's got 2 bands on it. So we look at it, we read it, and it says, Tim Grounds, championship calls, band, I think it was like 531 or something like that. So we had no idea what the significance of this band was. So I posted on Facebook that night. And we knew who Tim Grounds was and his calls, so I posted on Facebook that night on a bunch of different pages that I'm in. And I was like, does anybody know any information about these bands? Had a federal band on one side, which was banded in Thunder Bay, Canada, like 6 years prior. And then this Tim Grounds band, a bunch of people were coming back saying that there was only 10 of these bands put out or something like that, but they don't know for sure because Tim Grounds, who died tragically 2 years ago or so, 2018, in an ATV accident on his farm, took a lot of information to the grave with him. So nobody really knew like a lot about it, but I was getting some mixed things. So then a bunch of people were tagging Hunter Grounds in the comment section, which is Tim Grounds' son, which now runs the factory of the calls. And he came back and said, yeah, it's a super rare band you have there. Not too many of them I know have been shot. And then he didn't really say much there. And then some other people commented saying, I shot one of these like 15 years ago or something like that. And the federal band 6 years ago was banded as an adult, so, I mean, who knows how old the bird was. Mm-hmm. And so then somebody mentioned that I should try to call the factory and just see what, maybe they know something. So I called, and Judah Grounds actually picked up, which is Tim Grounds' mom. So I told her the story, and she started getting really emotional. You could tell that she was like sniffling and stuff, and I was like, she was just saying how awesome it was that I was getting this, and she wanted to write a whole post about it on Tim Grounds' Calls website. So she did that, and I just found out just that it was very special to them because he passed not too long ago, and I guess there's still missing information that he took to the grave with him that we'll probably never know. So I tried reaching out to the person that banded the bird with the federal band, but he never really got back to me to tell me if that band was on there prior or not. So that would kind of give me an idea of when.
Yeah, when
maybe.
that was. Was.
I mean, the tan line on the legs. There was tan lines from both of the bands on the legs, so their bands are on there for a while.
How old did you say the goose was again?
It was banded 6 years prior when I shot it last year.
Okay.
But it was banded as an adult. So.
Gotcha.
Yep. So I never shot a band before, and then on this hunt I shoot 3 bands, which is
Wow.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing is about this is we didn't know who shot this. It was between me and my friend's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And she was using a 20 gauge 2-shot, and I was using a 12 gauge BB, or triple B, I think it was. So, I mean, there's going to be a difference in the pellet
Yeah.
size there. So, like, we were considering, like, well, I probably would have mounted this if I would have known the significance before, but we didn't know who shot this. So, so we all stood around the cleaning table, and we pulled this bird apart. We're going to figure out who shot this bird, for find the first pellet that falls out. And sure enough, it was my triple B in there. So, yeah, actually, we got all the way up to the bird. We didn't find it until it was in the neck. So it was all the way up there and started in the bottom. We figured that out. But I still have the feet saved. I dried out the feet with pins, so they're spread out like this. And then I printed out the band certificate, and I have it in the background of inside of a shadow box. So.
Was there any kind of like phone number or anything on the Tim Grounds band or anything like that? Or?
There was, I think there was a phone number, and I don't think there was an address. It said Tim Grounds Championship Calls, and it said the place in Illinois, and then I think there was a phone number possibly. I think I tried calling that number. That's who I reached.
Just
Yep.
nothing.
And it said band number, whatever. I don't know what it was, 531 or something.
Gosh, that's a crazy story.
Yeah, it was awesome just putting the pieces together to figure out what happened or like what this band is from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's another crazy waterfowl story you guys got.
Speaking
the
of
band I
band,
just shot.
yeah,
It was second day duck season this year, and guys around us were sky busting, and they kind of winged one, and it was swinging over to us, and so I shot it, hit the water, shot again, water spot, and I was out of shells, so my buddy finished it off. He just walks up to the bird and stands there for like 5 minutes, and we're like, is he stuck? What's going on? He was actually in the hole we hunted and killed that mallard in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he walks over and he goes, it's a band. We're like, whoa, okay, I shot my first band. This is pretty awesome. And then he goes, this is super old. Like, it's 1,000. The number on the band was 1,000. And I was like, this doesn't mean anything to me, but cool. Awesome. It's an old band. So I pull it up, plug in the numbers, and come to find out it was banded as a wood duck in northern Iowa in 2000 as a male wood duck. 2004 is shot as an adult wood duck in Arkansas. And now 17 years later, it's on a blue-winged teal in Wisconsin. And it's like, where did this come from and what happened? Like, what's the story? Tried calling, and the feds had no idea what happened. They're like, yeah, no, it was a wood duck. Got shot 17 years ago. You shouldn't have that banded, and it's not on a teal. I'm like, here's a picture, here's a video. They're like, oh. Yeah, so we don't know what happened, but thanks for the information, and now you have a band. And it's like, oh, wish there was more of a story to it, but yeah, that story is
And it was a wood duck band, like it was, because a wood duck band is a little bit bigger than a teal band.
Oh yeah, I
isn't it?
could slide it right off the foot.
You slid it off the foot?
Yeah, I just slid it right off the foot.
How in the world did that thing stay on?
It just barely was tight enough on there, and then I just gave it a little tap, and I almost dropped it in the water. Because I picked it up by the band, and it like slid off, and it was hooked on the last toe.
Jeez.
And I was just like, uh-oh.
Huh.
So yeah,
I wonder if you can try to find the person that shot the wood duck.
it wouldn't give me a name.
Oh,
They
really?
said that was concealed information.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
guess
like,
that makes sense.
But yeah, no, I was like, how did it get from Arkansas in 2004 to 2021 on a blue-winged teal in Wisconsin?
That's an
it's
interesting
weird.
Yeah.
Someone had to like put it back on or
Yeah.
something. Like whoever shot it.
But like Iowa to Arkansas to Wisconsin, where's the connection here?
Yeah.
Mississippi River, that's about it.
Last year, a couple guys that I know that have a different outdoors page, they shot 2 blue-winged teal, banded blue-winged teal, one day and then one the next day. It was banded 12 days prior out in South Dakota.
Jeez.
That's crazy.
So those things are flying
Yeah,
fast.
they're booking it.
Yeah.
A funny one, Derek, we told you this one earlier, but I think the people watching or listening would like to hear this one. This was on the Platte River, Platte River.
Yeah.
This is a piece of property I got permission on. It's just like at the mouth of the Mississippi, where the mouth of the Platte met the Mississippi, and there's like a floodplain kind of. It was low cattle pasture, but it would frequently flood if we had enough water. So it was a long walk, 1.5 miles on cattle trail, dry land. And it was really a pain in the butt to get back there. Jared and I set up the A-frame not too long ago, a week or two prior, but it was almost 100 degrees on the heat index that day.
Yep.
That was awful. But that's not the best part. So it's Jared, myself, and Dean. We're out early goose hunting, and we're with the A-frame. We're set up right on the bank, and it's really bad mud, and that's something that's very, very common around here. Really bad sucker mud, and you might highlight some of it in the video. You might kind of see how we struggled getting through it. But the river always changes, so you don't know what the bottom's going to be like. Anyway, after the duration of the hunt, we're standing there, and we're sinking pretty deep. But Dean was sitting in a little chair.
Lawn chair.
Yeah, lawn chair.
Yeah.
And throughout the hunt, the guy's slowly sinking down without, really thinking about it. And then by the time it's like, okay, let's pack up. We got to go. We pull the lawn chair out from underneath him, and then he's up to about the top of his waders in mud. So then Jared and I are spending about an hour and a half getting him out of this mud, getting him out of the waders. And then we spent, I don't know how long getting your waders out of the mud.
Yeah, because basically what happened, it just, you just don't really realize it. And once you get kind of to your knees, you're kind of,
You're
kind of trapped. It's
Yeah.
like a vacuum. There's no air down there. It's tight, and there's no chance of getting out. And when I stood up to get out, you just sink even more. And the more you move, the more you go down. It's kind of like with quicksand.
Yeah,
Except
in a sense.
slow, but and there's a great picture of me after that, and I have mud basically up to my neck. Yeah.
We'll get you that picture, so you could probably pop it up on the screen.
Yeah.
I gotta do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one, and that
that-
was probably I'd only known these guys for a week at that time, so
That
they're already
was-
like,
There you go.
That
oh,
was-
this guy,
That was
We're bringing him
after.
on to it.
Yeah.
That was after this other one. This is the last one about the Platte River. So I've been on this property now, and then Ryan and Dean are now also with me, and we were scouting, right? Or were
Yeah,
we were scouting.
It was for teal.
Yeah, for teal. So we walk out there, and we do our scouting, whatever, and then we're ready to pack up. We're heading out. So these guys are like, "Yeah, 'cause look at how short of a walk it is to the truck. If we just cut through this section of tall grass here." And I was like, "Guys, I can bet you money that's not going to be an easy walk." And so Dean doesn't know Ryan as well as I know Ryan at this point.
It's the
And
first day I met him, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I know Ryan's a little bit of a trailblazer, which can lead to things. So I was like, "Guys, I'm walking the dry land back. I'm not going to even take that chance." So I'm walking back, and then these two are, trouncing through the marsh, and I think you guys can take it over from here.
Yeah, sure, I can take it
I'm
over.
gonna restart the camera quick.
We're already at an hour.
It's getting kind of long.
All right.
So here we are. Ryan and I decided to take a quote-unquote shortcut. And, Yags had taken the cattle trail all the way back. And I didn't really feel like walking 1.5 miles. And anyways, I had my dog with me too, Jack. And so anyways, we get about, 50 yards into this. And we had some decoys and like a couple backpacks. So we kind of had a little bit extra weight. And, I'm starting to kind of get into the sucker mud. It's at, my ankles. And then I'm take one step and I'm up to my shins in mud and trying to get out, and I'm starting to think this really sucks. And Ryan's just assuring me that once we get up to those cattails up there, it's going to be dry land. It's going to be, we're just going to walk right out, shortcut, we'll be all good. We're going to beat the eggs back to the truck and whatever. And we get another 100 yards, and I am just every step up to near my knee, and it's just terrible. And I just start crawling on my hands and knees. And we probably have another like 600 yards to go. And Jack, my dog, is just making me so upset. He's running circles around me, and I'm crawling through this on my hands and knees and all the way back to the truck. And we finally get to... There was a point where I thought maybe I should like get an airlift out of there or something. I'm like, I might die out here. And but anyways, we get to a point where we can see the car, and I'm like, oh my, thank God. And who do we see standing right next to it? Yeags. And he has been talking to the neighbor lady who made him cookies while we were crawling through this mud. And I'm just like, oh, we are not going to hear the end of this. And yep, we get back, and oh man, it was just the worst time ever. And this, like I said, this is the first day that I met Ryan, and what an impression, right? And yeah.
I say it continues. Every time I hunt with you, you always say, I will never hunt with you again until the end of the hunt. And you're like, all right, I can do this again.
Yeah.
The marsh can do many things to bring a grown man to tears.
Oh, it'll break your will. There was a point out there where I shed a couple tears. I mean, it was just terrible. And
we were carrying over 5 dozen decoys
Yeah.
because I found out, like, I'm a pretty light guy, and I was sinking almost waist deep. So I figured out if you crawl in the mud, throw the decoys in front, you can lay on top of the decoys, and they'll keep you afloat out of the mud. Throw 2 dozen in front, lay on 1 dozen, and just kind of army crawl across the decoys for 600-700 yards. I had to give him an extra dozen so he could do the same.
it was,
And
oh my
it was
God.
not fun. It took
No.
over 3 hours to
Yeah.
go 700-800 yards. And there was no turning back because, well, you're already in it, and you really want to walk half the distance back out, which would be same as to the truck, and then you'd still have another 1.5 mile walk on dry land.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're in it. We're going for it.
Yeah, and the biggest lesson, we learn something new every time. Typically something usually goes wrong or whatever, but yep.
It's part of the
Biggest lesson out of that is just go with what you know, and go with your safe bet. You don't want to take a chance with the Mississippi because 90% of the time she'll win.
Yep.
You guys didn't even want a cookie.
No, I was so mad. I was so ready to go home.
Any last final thoughts or anything like that you guys want to talk about, or let the advice, things you've learned over the years, anything like that?
Adversity makes a stronger hunter. I said that in our opening teal video last year that had quite another series of unfortunate events, which really makes us look like we've got bad luck following us all around. But your struggles make you a stronger hunter, a stronger person. It develops your morale and your camaraderie with your friends, as those two had a bonding experience of struggling.
Yeah.
But just because it's hard, and just because you're down on your luck, or things aren't going your way, birds aren't flying, you're putting in a lot of hours in tree stand, you're not getting that buck coming across, don't stop, because it's
Learn from your mistakes.
right. You live.
Best learning curve.
A lot of people ask why we sit and just wait for something to come by, or why we put in all this work. But the benefit of the harvest and providing for ourselves and others, and also being a part of conservation in a species, is rewarding tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
But just because it's hard, keep your mind on it, keep working, and it always helps to have good buddies to go through the real bad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd say we talk a lot about our quote unquote riding the struggle bus, but it may suck in the time, but it's a memory that Ryan and I will share forever.
Yeah.
Like that was the first day I met him. We have this great memory together, and maybe not so great, but it's how we met, and we could tell hours about stories we have together. So just love it and keep going out there. Be patient. Something's eventually gonna walk by, hopefully. But birds are gonna fly.
Bring new people out. You shoot a 6-man in a band. Bring someone out deer hunting. Shoot a big buck. Just bring people out, and good things come around.
We need to bring more new people all the time.
Yeah, I know.
One thing I want to talk about is, so earlier when I first got here, I brought up, and I don't know if you guys said, I can't remember if you knew what R3 was. So I kind of told them what R3 was, but I think now after the weekend, you guys, I don't know if you've had a chance to think about any more on it, but what are your thoughts on the R3 initiative? And for the viewers and listeners, R3 is an outdoor initiative, and the way I like to explain it is, well, it stands for Recruit, Retain, and Reactivating Hunters, and recreationalists as a whole. And I like to call it like just an outdoor initiative that everyone's a part of. Companies, organizations, hunters, fishers, like anyone that has anything to do with the outdoors is involved with R3 and should be for the existence of preserving and conserving the outdoors. So, what are your guys' thoughts on R3 now that you guys kind of gotten a little lesson over the weekend about what it is?
It's crucial to the conservation of our sport. I guess that was also part of the reason why I got into waterfowl. I'm in a fraternity, Sigma Pi, and my brother actually took me out. That's when I briefly talked about my career of waterfowl hunting on the Mississippi here. Having that resource and that coaching and guidance has now put me in this position to do the same now for these younger freshmen that are becoming a part of our fraternity. And then also just I'm meeting guys that they rush but they might not join. But I'm still saying, hey, if you need advice or you need places to go, I've got a lot of resources for you. I know people that can get you on something. I can get you on something. So it's more of like a kind of a pay it forward in a sense too.
Mm-hmm.
Do what somebody has done for you, but then leave them better off than what you were. So take that knowledge that you've built and that experience and multiply that from what you've been taught. And then that's how we build smarter hunters, safer hunters, and better hunters. And then that gets more people into the sport, and it really benefits all of us.
I would definitely agree with that. That's kind of is what you and I had already talked about. That's kind of like what we're doing as a group in general without even knowing that it existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like there's numerous freshmen and sophomore that I get into deer hunting, show them private and public. Like Dean showed them certain piece public, and then this is going to sound bad, but once I can see they work hard enough and they truly care about managing land, that's when I help them get some of my older private land, and I have plenty of resources, and especially with like hunting gear, things that I don't use anymore that I know I could sell for money. Freshmen, sophomores, I've definitely just given some away.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, I know you need this. This is what you need for the next level. I see you're working hard. Just keep going at it and just try and provide for them as much as you can to keep the future going.
Yeah, I'd say pretty much, we all got to start somewhere, and some of us grew up hunting more than others, and obviously if you can help someone get into the sport, I mean, we love it so much, so definitely want to get more people to experience it. So
Building off you got to start somewhere. Don't be shy either. Get involved with your campus. If you're a high school, college, get involved with your high school. Try and start a club or organization or something that it might just be you and your buddies that started, but then you reach out to other classmates, etc. Or get involved in college. There's a lot of opportunities to be involved. Platteville, I was involved with the Sportsman's Club briefly in my time here. That was also just another resource for me. I think that's important to just don't be shy, put yourself out there, and there's so many good guys out there that can really be a great resource for you. You just have to kind of actively seek it. Nobody's going to come up to you and say, hey, are you looking for a place to hunt? You might have it in casual conversation, but being available and being willing to learn and being open to, talking with these people, it's the best way to get yourself out there.
just ask questions and start a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to start a conversation.
We have stupid questions, but there are no stupid questions.
I would say I really love the initiative, honestly. It's I kind of benefit from it personally because it's kind of how I got back into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like a chain reaction. So Yags was talking before about how his brother brought him into duck hunting. Well, Yags brought me duck hunting, and I fell in love with it and was like, I want to start doing this more and more. And I got away from it. I used to go out with my dad, before when I was younger, up to like 7th grade or whatever, and took maybe 7-8 years off of hunting altogether, and all it took was that one hunt. We killed one duck. And it was like one of the best times I ever had in my life. So I just loved it. And then this past weekend, I just took my buddy who's never been out hunting really, and he loved it. And it's just a chain reaction, and that's
and kind of a personal story like that too. Like I grew up deer hunting, turkey hunting, coyote hunting. I never even thought about waterfowl, and these guys got me into it. So just another example of like all leads kind of back to Yeags of being introduced to it. Got a lot more people into it. So
Yeah, that's 1, 2, and 3, and then almost 10 people just from one guy.
Yeah.
Which think about if you have, a group of guys that are willing to do that and bring in more people and show them how much more I can multiply the sport.
Yeah. And I think as to explain the R3, how powerful it is. Like one person, can make a huge difference. Like as you guys watch this or listening to this, for example, it's like you've heard stories just now from these guys recruiting hunters and how important it is to get new people introduced into hunting or just anything. But then also reactivating. So like Dean said, he used to hunt when he was younger, but then high school kind of got busy, but then college came around, got back into it, so they're recruited. But never really talked about retaining hunters. But the thing is, as you listen to this, you're witnessing retention of outdoorsmen and recreation in the outdoors. These students I'm sitting with, they're retaining themselves they're really a support group for one another to continue hunting. And that's one thing that's super important when you guys go to college or as you guys go to move to new areas, because finding a group of people, and if it's a new group of people or if it's you and your buddies from where you guys maybe first got involved in hunting, but finding a group, and like these guys said, you just got to ask that question. Don't be afraid to ask that one question, because finding a group is so important. It's so much easier to hang up the waders or put the bow away at the end of the season and not go out the following season if it's just yourself. So challenge yourself to find a group, and keep each other accountable. I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see where you guys are now that you guys are all seniors. I think let's talk about that. Where do you guys? What's going to happen now that when you guys graduate?
Going to continue on.
Yeah.
We're going to keep doing deer hunts. Wherever I am in the country, don't know where I'm going to be, sign my life away. So I'll be traveling every 3 to 6 months. I'll be in a new state, so get my residency, like Missouri, bought some tags. So wherever I go, I'm going to keep filming, whether it's deer, waterfowl. If it's waterfowl, invite these guys out. Deer, if I get some nice property like I have up here in Illinois, I invite them out, and definitely going to come back and visit. So I don't see why we wouldn't all come back for like a duck hunt or something, or just a deer camp, or
A lot of out west planning.
Yeah.
It's something that is kind of a general consensus that we all want to get into. Anything that flies or walks, it's gonna be in trouble with all of us. So, I've got family out in Colorado, and that's really been my drive to seek out west in western hunting. I'm gonna be going elk hunting next fall, tentatively if I get the draw, obviously. But we just see these other guys, these other creators, elk hunting, pronghorn, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, man, we could totally do that. We love the idea of going out there, roughing it, being just you and nature, and just spending time with your friends, and the camaraderie that's built there, and the hardships and the successes is just going to make it even better. So I'm excited for that too. It just opens up a whole new avenue of adventures once we graduate and we start making decent income now with the job. Might not have as much time as we do now, but the time that we lose after graduating we make up for in probably experience and memories.
Yeah, I think along with that continuation, I think I have plans to, whatever hunts I do, keep filming. And, just because we're in a different place, different part of the country doesn't mean that we aren't all still friends and good buddies, and we'll always probably send trail cam pictures and whatnot. And, yeah.
So you can have a support group kind of, even though you're not here all under the same roof and things, like you guys can all stay in contact.
Yeah.
Good. Hunter, what are you thinking? God Country going to be?
Yeah, so most of our guys graduated last semester.
So you're kind of already experiencing this.
So there's only 2 of us left still in, 3 of us left still in college here.
Okay.
One guy goes down in Southern Illinois and 2 of us here at Platteville. So we've already lost like 4 of the guys that they graduated last semester, but we're still like posting our pictures and our hunts. We still all hunt a lot. We do 2 times a year. We do annual duck hunt up at my cabin for the Northern Opener in Wisconsin, and then we do trout camp like I was telling you before in the springtime. So do that and get together and just catch up, and it's always a good time.
Sweet. Well, it's cool to see that you guys are keeping in contact with one another. So.
Unfortunately, I guess we're stuck with each other.
Yeah. So, well, I think that's going to do it here for the Campus Waterfowl podcast. But I think we've been going on for close to an hour and 20 minutes now. Close. But, whew. Oh my goodness. I didn't even notice we're all wearing the same shirt. Look at these.
This is a pretty great shirt.
Gosh. Was this like
It's not a great match.
I like your shirt.
Comfortable and stylish.
Oh gosh, I didn't even notice that. Man, look
Go
at
get
these.
one.
The new Ducks camo.
Yeah, the new DU camo and everything. Oh my gosh, look at it.
And the band is even reflective.
Yeah, you guys
If
got-
you weren't sold before,
Nice.
Wow.
reflecting this
I had
there.
to throw that in there. People were probably just watching this video. They were just wondering, they're looking at our shirts. They're all wearing the same shirt.
Yeah.
Hashtag get your merch.
But it's not going to be in this video, but I think in one of these next upcoming videos, we're going to be giving away one of these shirts, and throughout the season, I think I'm going to be giving some of these away. So make sure you guys tune into the YouTube channel, watch the videos.
I got one more thing too after you're done.
Oh, okay. Be sure to tune into the YouTube videos because we're going to be giving some of these away, and I like how they turned out. Just got them last week, so you guys are the first to see them and first to get them. So hope you guys enjoy them and put them to good use this season and get lots of pictures with them. But Hunter, you said you got.
Yeah, so I think we'd all like to thank Derek too for coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
We couldn't get him on enough birds, I guess, but still made up for some camaraderie and some good times, making some memories. So
No, that's what it's all about, making memories, and you don't need birds or.
no, that's just a bonus.
Sometimes it's a broken motor or a big. Like we got lucky, got the big deer. Or, just even spending time out in the field with you guys today, seeing the sunrise with all of our TikTok fans
And sunset.
Local idiot.
Local idiot man.
He's watching this. But the sunset this evening. But it's all worth it. So, being able to meet you guys, hear your stories, now really, really appreciate you guys letting me come out here and hunt with you guys this weekend. So.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome anytime.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Come see the world's largest stem whenever you
Yeah,
want.
back to see that. All right, well, that's going to do it for the Campus Waterfowl podcast. Like I said before, appreciate your support. Be sure to like and subscribe. And if you feel like there's any information in this podcast that you feel is useful for someone else that you might know, feel free to be sure to share the podcast with them because knowledge is everything, I guess.
Knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. That's what it is. So, but yeah, that's gonna do it here, and I will see you guys all in Texas in the next set of videos. So, thank you again.